So today's video, we're going to be talking about the KDP secret. Now this might seem a little bit clickbaity, but this has been the difference for me between making okay sales on Amazon KDP and making a full-time income on Amazon KDP. So we're going to go into my account in just a second to make sure that these numbers are legit. But in today's video, all we're going to be talking about is the secret. So super exciting stuff. So just to go into my account here, and I think if you're going to throw big numbers around, you should have something to show for it. So this month we're looking at 2,300 units sold, and this year so far, as per the thumbnail, we're looking at 21,226 units so far. So before we get into this video, I'm super excited to announce that my website, my membership is going live on the 28th of June. So inside the membership, you're going to get a ton of course content from day number one, unique course content just for the membership. We're going to have weekly live coaching calls. We have the seller room in Discord going on. We have all sorts of things planned as well, giveaways, events. It's going to be something really, really special. So if you want to stay notified for that, I suggest that you join the Discord group. We already have inside the free Discord group, we already have success stories coming in, which is fantastic. And then on Friday, the 21st of June, there is going to be a free call. So for most of you watching that, that is going to be tomorrow. And again, if you want to stay notified, that is going to be announced inside the Discord, so you know exactly when to join and how to join that call. So from day one, you're going to get access to all of the course content. This is, of course, going to be updated every single month. We're going to look at creating more case studies, more advertising strategies, and then getting into, again, finally into higher content books for those people that are interested in that. So none of this is theory. There's tons of case studies. This is everything that I do, everything that I'm going to be doing. Super excited to share all this with you. And like I say, day number one, you're going to get access to all of this. So let's get into this video and talk about the secret. So here is the thing. This is something that people really don't think about, and it is to be first, to be better, or to be different. Now, the thing is, if you're doing low and medium content books, there is a ton of visibility on Amazon. You just look through some of these YouTube videos, like the side hustle channels, literal millions and millions and millions of views of people doing the exact same thing. So what I will tell people is that average to normal offerings are completely saturated. So if it's not always the case, and we have a notebook case study, a very generic notebook case study inside the membership to show you this isn't always the case, but for the most part, average to normal offerings are saturated on Amazon. So this is actually great because this is what everyone else is doing. Like, you look at all the people that are using these multi-function tools that guide people into very specific niches, or YouTube videos that guide people to very specific niches as well. And it's what everyone else is doing. And it's a great opportunity for those that want to put a little bit of creativity and a little bit of effort into their publishing business to make a ton of money. So here is something that has helped me change my perspective when it comes to publishing in 2024 and beyond. What I want you to do is think of every single book that you upload like this. I'm going to go over to Canva and show you this now. So I want you to think of it this way, and think of this as being the front page for any given search term that you're being ranked for. So we have the books on the front page here. Let's just assume that these are books. So typically when you're doing low and medium content books, there's not that many niches that haven't been done already. So you're going to assume that anything that we do is going to be pretty competitive. Now, let's assume this is the first page, like I say, for any given keyword. Now, when we launch our book onto Amazon, it's not a guarantee, but it is very likely that Amazon is going to give us this early visibility, this kind of honeymoon period that people keep talking about. So for me, this is a game-changing perspective, as simple as it may seem. So you have your book that's waiting here. It's been launched. When it gets launched, it gets put somewhere sometimes if you get enough sales from advertising campaigns onto this front page. So let's assume after 2 days of your book going live that you get launched, you end up here on the front page momentarily. So what's going to happen if customers don't click through onto your book, if customers don't buy your book, you're going to drop off and you're going to end up page 8, 9, or whatever it is on Amazon, and no one's ever going to see your book. Now, why does this keep happening to you? It's because you are offering the very, very bare minimal that it takes to stick around on Amazon. So here's the two things that I want you to think about when it comes to launching a book onto Amazon. It is your click-through rate and your conversion. So I say this in so many videos, is that what makes sense to keep a book ranked on Amazon is a click-through rate, as in how many people click through onto your book, and then how many people buy it. So it obviously makes sense for Amazon to prioritize books that are being clicked on, and those books are then converting into sales. So with this in mind, you have to say to yourself, what is one reason that people are going to click through onto my book ahead of the competition? So if your offering is the absolute most basic standard offering that there is on Amazon, people aren't going to click it. They're going to see all these other wonderful books with loads of reviews. Then eventually you're just going to fall off the first pages. So you have to think to yourself, when you're creating your book cover, this is what's going to matter the most, is to get those clicks no matter what it is. So we'll talk about this as we go through this video, how you can make your book cover stand out, how you can make your book stand out so that you are getting these clicks. But this is the perspective I want every single person watching this to think of. When I get onto these front pages for these keywords, why would a customer click my book instead of everyone else's? So to give an example here, if you look at these recent butterfly coloring books that have just been released onto Amazon, look at all of these. Why would anybody click through onto this? Why 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 this ahead of the competition? There is literally no reason to click through, especially ones that are $15. There is no reason at all to click through onto these books. Although I do like this one here, I will say that. And funny enough, that's actually the one that's selling, okay? So we'll talk about why that is now as we go through this video. And toward the end of the video, I've got a game that you can kind of play with by yourself when you're doing your Amazon research. And this is actually really powerful stuff. So here's the thing, if you feel like you can't be first, you can't be better, or you can't be different, then there are plenty of niches on Amazon. You don't have to publish in those really hot trending niches. You can find other niches where you feel you can have that unique spin, where you can have a better book cover or a better offering. So there are plenty of niches. You don't have to go after those big juicy ones. So at this point, you're probably asking, well, how do I be first? How do I be better? How do I be different? Now, I think one thing we need to address first is why you are never first and why you are therefore never better or different. So this is a behavior across people doing niche research that needs to be stopped in order to start seeing success on Amazon. So here's one thing, is that you are scared to be a trendsetter, which is fair enough, because when you're reinventing the wheel or thinking of unique niches, there is a huge risk that your book isn't going to sell. However, you don't need to reinvent the entire wheel. You can still be a trendsetter within a niche. So this will make sense as we go into the next section here. But one of the other reasons why you're never first to these niches, these hot niches, is because you're probably watching too many niche videos that are driving huge amounts of traffic to a very specific book style. And what happens when people watch these videos is they go ahead and they make the exact same books that everyone else is making, okay? So the problem with that is you are way too late. And the same goes for using software that spoon feeds you these niches. By the time this software, these, the ones that show off all these niches and books, by the time that they've shown up on the software, it's too late, okay? And this is the secret, honestly. You can counter all of these problems by doing your research on Amazon. Get off YouTube watching the hot niche videos, get off software that is spoon feeding you niches, go onto Amazon and start doing your research, because you're going to be able to find these niches, these trends that happen sooner before these other people start picking up on and driving more and more traffic to them. So when more traffic gets driven to these niches, what happens is you can't be first. You won't be first these niches. By the time you see this, you're way too late. And then in order to make sales in those niches, you have to be different, which of course is going to require more thought and therefore more effort. So here's an example of being first before these type of niches. And again, I don't want to be someone that drives a ton of traffic to these niches, but to give an example here, if you take a look at the style of this book here, and this all comes from doing your research on Amazon, you'll see that there's a couple books that are cropping up with this kind of color, this color palette, this sort of pastel looking colors where we have the images inside of squares for these type of cute coloring books for girls. Now this for me is a trending style, and if you spend more time on Amazon, you will pick up on these trending styles, and then you can use these styles inside of your books, or you can take them into consideration for your book cover. So this doesn't mean copying these exactly. Obviously, you create something unique every single time, but you just take note of these trending styles. So hopefully that makes sense. You want to take note of the kind of color palettes that people are using for their book covers, the styles, the layouts, then obviously create something unique with this in mind. If you can see that things are selling well, it means that it's converting. You know what we just showed you in the last Canva file, when these books get boosted, you're going to click on this one, right? Because it's gorgeous. It's a new kind of style. This is a new trend that's going to start before people get a hold of it and start ruining it. So with that in mind, like when it comes to you doing this, how can you be different in these kind of saturated niches? And the books that I just showed you, make no mistake, people have known about these for a very long time, but when you are different, you can make a ton of sales. So I don't do the whole more pages thing anymore just to be different. Like it's going to get to a point where it would be ridiculous. There's already coloring books, for example, that have 100 images in them, therefore 200 pages. You can't keep going up and up and up and up, okay? So I don't do that anymore. Now here's the thing, what people do is that they feel like they have to go crazy and just keep niching down and finding all these weird little sub niches to get into. You don't have to do that. So what I found, and trust me when I tell you this, is that something like just the font can be your way, your unique selling point, your way of standing out and being different. Because at this point we have so many people using Canva fonts that it kind of looks flat and boring, and you can tell which books that are using this. And again, this kind of makes every book look super dull. So that's a massive tip. Fonts can make a huge difference, and you can actually hire someone to, if you have your book cover ready, you can actually hire someone to hand draw a unique font for you, which is what I'm doing in my next books. Another way that you can be different, and I've tested this, and we actually have a full-blown case study inside the membership for a color by number book where I've done this, where I've not been, I've not niched down or done anything special, but I've just made the book cover more saturated. Where it makes sense to do so, you can do this. And I've also been experimenting with Canva's color wheel as well. So Canva's color wheel is going to show you complementary colors that you can use for your book cover. So for example, if you liked the style of the last book cover, you can take like the background color, which would have been, you can use like a, I've got a color picker thingy-majig here. You can use that, put the color code in here, and it's going to bring you back something pinkish, I'd imagine. Then it's going to give you some complementary colors that you can use alongside that. So again, all of this, people aren't doing this. Like the vast majority of people don't do anything like this. And this little extra bit of effort can be what makes your book different. And then of course we have the overall book cover quality. So this is a big one. Most people make very average book covers, as you just seen. So it's hard to say what makes a great book cover as someone that is not a designer. But obviously the better book cover you have, the more chance you have of people clicking through on it. So the other way of being different is to become a trendsetter. So again, we're not reinventing the wheel, but to become a trendsetter within the broad niche. So here's how I would go about thinking about approaching these kind of broad and saturated niches in order to stand out or become a trendsetter. So you want to think about every single niche that you do this for. Think about what your target audience resonates with, what they've been through, what they enjoy, what they love. So seniors, for example, what have they been through, what do they enjoy, what do they love? So seniors, a lot of seniors have probably been married and in love for a very, very, very long time. So that is something that it's very fundamentally grounded within them, being married for a long time or having a partner for a very, very long time. So when it comes to that, you can create your book around that kind of fundamental of their life. So again, off the top of my head, if I was creating a word search for seniors, it could be something like word search for seniors, like a kind of loving edition or 50 years together edition, not an edition, but more of a vibe where the couples can kind of do these together, if that makes sense. And then inside of the book, we'd have different things like sections that are dedicated to words from their first date, etc., etc., or their favorite meals, just to have that kind of connection to something that they resonate with. That was a bit of a ramble job, but hopefully that makes sense. So that's how I approach a lot of my new books when it comes to just being different. Think about all the things that we have here where you can make your book different. Again, always think the most basic, what's been done before offering is saturated. It will severely decrease your chances of making sales. So I can completely appreciate that it's not always easy to understand if you have a good book cover, a unique vibe, a unique selling point, nice font placement. This is something that I think you do need direct feedback on to skip a ton of time testing things, which is why in the membership we're having those live weekly calls where you can drop in, show me what you're doing, get my direct feedback, and then go from there. So again, if you want to sign up for this, head over to chrisraydog.com. Make sure that you join the free Discord. It's all going to be linked below in the description and the pinned comment. So hopefully this is making sense. Now let's go to move on to playing the listing game. And this is something that I didn't realize that I've been doing for years and has helped me a ton. So here's what's great about this is that it's going to make you spend more time on Amazon. The more time you spend on Amazon, the more chance you have of noticing these trends before people ruin them. So it also helps you identify effective book covers and vibes. So all we're going to do is try and guess. So we're going to turn off our BSR extensions. We're just going to try, and you could do this when you're doing your research. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to sit down and play the game for an hour. Just do this whilst you're doing your research. You're going to try and guess the BSR based off of the book cover. So the way that I would do this is by looking at really broad, super saturated niches. So word search for seniors, it's very broad and saturated. So what you would do is go onto the first page and take a look at books that don't have many reviews on them, which means that they're probably going to be new. So what I would do is just scroll down, try and find ones that don't click on the sponsored listings, that don't have many reviews. This one here has got one review, and actually this is a great example of what I was trying to communicate earlier about having this unique spin that makes sense to the audience. So baby boomer word searches. So this is the thing, baby boomer, it's not a niche, right? People don't search for baby boomer word search, they just don't. People are searching for word search for seniors, and then they resonate with this unique selling point. Beautiful stuff. I like this. I reckon it's ranked 45,000 at the moment. So just scroll down, take note of the A+ content. Like, this is really nice A+ content. Really nice stuff. 35,000. Okay, so we're not too far with that one. And just do the same for books that have not many reviews on them. Actually, I don't know why. I've got a feeling, I've got a vibe for this one here. I'm going to go with 70,000 for this one here. And I can appreciate this is hard to maybe understand why I think this is good. I think this is niche appropriate. 110,000. So let's go on to the second page here. And I'm going to say this one, I'm not getting the vibe on this one here. So I'm going to say 437,000 exactly. Let's see how that was. 508,000, that's not too bad. So you see what I'm saying, like the more time you spend on Amazon kind of guessing these BSRs, you're going to understand what makes sense for your niche, and that's going to help you create your books. So that's it for this video. That has been the secret, whether people want to admit this or not. This is the way forward with selling books on Amazon. This is everything that I've been doing, and these successful people that I've spoken to, especially ones inside the Discord group, they are doing this as well. And again, we have a free coaching call coming up on the 21st. So if you want me to take a look at your books, or if you want some questions answered, you're going to be able to do that. Join the call. It's all going to be announced on Discord, so just go and join that. You'll find out how to join the call, etc., etc., and when it is exactly. But that's it for this video. I'll see you soon.